Welcome to the WanderLearn show. I'm your host, Tapon. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the Keystone Tablet Plus. It's a way to protect your seed phrase on your cryptocurrency wallet. Let's go over the basics first. What is a seed phrase? Let's think of it as a 24-word password. Really long amount of information. And that is what you're going to use to protect your cryptocurrency wallet, assuming you're doing self-custody. You have, let's say, like a ledger, and we talk about the ledger and other, as we talk about many other cryptocurrency wallets. This allows you to have custody yourself. You could have gold and store it with somebody else. They really control the gold, and the government can confiscate that gold. It's very different than if you have the gold in a safe in your house. So a cryptocurrency wallet is basically you having the equivalent of gold in your house or wherever you keep that little device, that hardware wallet. But that hardware wallet could get broken. It could get lost. Something bad could happen. How do you recover your funds? You use that 24-word seed phrase to get it back. It's basically the keys to your kingdom. So you have to protect that because anybody who has that 24-word seed phrase can get access to your cryptocurrency. It doesn't matter if they don't have the device. If they have those 24-word seed phrase, you're toast, which is good news in the sense that you don't depend on this technology of this little device that could easily, technology breaks all the time. But 24-word seed phrase doesn't break. Which brings us to this device by Keystone. The Keystone Tablet Plus allows you to store those 24 words or 12 words in a metallic form. Something that can withstand a hurricane, a blizzard, flooding, even a fire in your house. Regular old paper doesn't do that. Having an electronics is a bad idea to have your cryptocurrency seed phrase on your phone or anything like that, or even on a USB stick. That kind of stuff is a little bit more risky. This old-fashioned method is one of the best ways to do it. Let's go over how it works, and then I'll get into the two positive things that I really like about this Keystone Tablet Plus, two negative things that are like, a little bit weak, and then my overall verdict. All right, let's go into this review right now. We're going to do an unboxing of the Keystone Tablet Plus. And as you can see, it's a partial unlocking, so I've already opened this up myself. You're going to get this little tablet like this. You're going to get a screwdriver, which you're going to use to get out all the different screws. I've already taken the screws out. And inside below, you have a thank you card. And here's a key point. If one of your seed words is abandoned, you notice the first four letters, A-B-A-N. That's all the letters you need because of the roughly 2,000 words that are in the BIP39. Each of the four letters are unique. So this one is ribbon, and R-I-B-B is all you need. So as long as you have the BIP39, which you can get on the internet anywhere, you just search for BIP39 and you'll get the list of the words. Here are the actual plates. You get 4 plates, and they've distributed it so that things like vowels, like the letter U or the letter A, you have a lot of them. I took one A out, by the way. Letters like Q and Z are less prevalent. And there's also some extra screws that they give you here. It looks like they have 3 extra screws. And there's little A that I pumped out. All right, and so now I'll show you how it works. You slide it open, and you're going to have, by the way, this one has a plastic on it. So I'm going to try to remove the plastic. I've never done this before, but I'm going to just try to use this thing to get the plastic off. That is kind of a slight pain to pull off. It's very tight. You need some muscles to pull this off. Either that or I'm very weak. And you want to do it kind of smoothly to not have too much residue. And that's about it. All right, so this is the Keystone. As you can see, you slide it open, and you're going to have, let's say, the letter A. I'm going to just drop it in there. Right there. And you just push it in. If you just try to close it, there it is. And then you're going to put the screws back on. And then it'll be solidified there. And then you unscrew the 17 different screws in this case because I've got the plus. Sometimes you need to lift the panel just slightly to let it slide in because it's a pretty snug fit. But aside from that, it's pretty straightforward. So let's say that one of your seed words is abandoned, for example. So we need ABAN. So I've got the A. I'm going to need another A on the other end. Give it a little twist. So now I've got another A, and I need the B, and I've got my B. So I go push the letter N out. So now I've got all my letters. So we have here the letter A, B, and over here the A, and then the letter N. That's all I need. And again, you look it up on the BIP 39. I'll put a link in the description so you can look it up, and just close it. And then we're going to have to put in all the screws to secure this tightly. Okay, and then once you're going to get all these little screws in, I'm not going to do all 17, but I just want to give you a sense that these screws are very tiny, but they come with this magnetic screwdriver. So it makes it a little bit easier to work with this stuff. You do need a certain amount of dexterity. Hire a little child to do this if you need to. Probably the whole process, depending on your skill level, could take 30 minutes to 60 minutes. And then you tighten them up. And then from there, you can close it. Once you got all the screws in, that's it. And you can put an optional padlock if you want to right here. All right, before we get into the pros and cons, I wanted to quickly talk about the difference between the Plus versus the regular, the Tablet Plus versus the regular. The Tablet Plus has 17 different screws, and that makes it a little bit more secure. They both have a place where you can put a padlock there. That's the same, but the 17 screws makes it a little bit more secure. The second thing that's quite a big difference is that each letter has its own place versus in the regular, not the Plus, but the regular has a slot for every word. This has one slot, and could be potentially jumbled. That's why there's a slight risk of security risk versus when they're securely put in their individual slot, the letters are far less likely to move. So that's the main difference. Is it worth $20? Depends. If you have a lot of cryptocurrency, then probably spend the extra $20 and have something that is slightly more secure. But in the end, your security practices are going to depend on many other variables, not just whether you have each word as a slot or whether you have each individual letter as a slot. That's a minor thing in the grand scheme of things. Okay, so now let's go into the two pros and the two cons. I would say on the pro side, what I really like, and it's different than the Coinkite Seed Plate that I reviewed before, is the fact that with this Keystone Tablet Plus, you can reuse it. That's so nice because you're going to get a new cryptocurrency wallet every once in a while. And maybe you're like, you know what, I'm going to move everything over from, let's say you had the Ledger hardware wallet, and now you want to go to the Treasure hardware wallet, or you want to change to the Opal wallet, which I reviewed before. You might want to generate a brand new seed phrase because maybe your security you feel has been compromised. Maybe you put it on the internet for a little bit and you're like, oh shoot, I should have not done that. I need a brand new seed phrase. So you decide to revamp your security. Well, then all you got to do is move the letters around and bingo. With a plate that you hammer in the information, you're going to have to buy a brand new plate and you're not going to be able to reuse it. So I really like the reusability. The other thing I really like about the Keystone Tablet Plus is the fact that it has little security features like having this tamper-evident tape that it has so that when you close it up, it has this padlock that you can put on here, which is a cool feature. And then you can put this tape on top of it and you'll be able to see if somebody's peeked at it. On the other hand, what are you going to do at that point? Somebody looks into it. More than likely, I don't think anybody's going to just like look at it, take a peek, and then close it up again. They're probably just going to steal the whole damn thing. Unless maybe like it's a relative who's in your house. Maybe a cousin is visiting you or your brother or something like that. And he takes a look at it, takes a peek, and then says, okay, now I got the seed phrase. And he leaves it there thinking that you won't notice. Well, this is one way to find out if somebody has been tampering, or maybe your maid, somebody's looking into that. So minor security feature that is a bonus that I like. So those are two things that I really like, the reusability and the extra security features I didn't see in other places, tamper-evident plate and this padlock. Okay, two things I don't like about it. Number one, it's using 304 steel, which is very strong and slightly less durable than titanium, but not a huge difference. Titanium also melts around or starts to decompose around 800 degrees Celsius. And that, by the way, is on the upper end of most house fires. So most house fires, typically you're going to get like 400, 500 degrees or something like that. Sometimes they go up to 700, 800. And that's right around the temperature where this thing is going to start to kind of break down. So there's ways to kind of mitigate that well, one way is maybe put it in another fireproof container. So like an envelope, fireproof envelope that creates another layer that has to get through. Things like that you could do to kind of protect it, especially if you've got a lot of crypto. And then there's another minor point. Because the seed phrase is in individual slots, some people will argue that if this thing were to be bent severely or crushed severely, you're going to start seeing all those little tiny letters fly everywhere in everyone's direction. Okay, true, that is possible. But two things I want to say about that. Number one, it's highly unlikely that things are going to get crushed and twisted and turned like that. In a fire, it's just going to sit still. Probably you're not going to worry, how is it going to get crushed that way? There's very few scenarios where I can see that happening. The second point is that if you use, let's say, a Coinkite seed phrase where you're hammering out the letters, well, yeah, they won't shift around, but if you're twisting and bending that, it's also going to have all sorts of distortion. And all of a sudden, you're going to see it's going to be hard to read that plate as well. So any kind of twisting and bending and stuff like that, that's going to affect almost every single seed plate out there. So I don't see really that being a tremendous weakness, but I had to put it out there as a potential weakness. So I wish it somehow had a even stronger steel. But by the way, the Coinkite seed plate also uses the same type of steel as this. So it seems like it's pretty much an industry standard. And I think it should be able to withstand most fires, because most fires, they burn out. They don't sit there and stay at 800 degrees nonstop. They'll maybe hit a peak at 800 and then eventually descend as the flames start to die out. And it's consumed whatever fire, whatever things that's kept it alive up until that point. Now, what's my verdict? I love it. I think it's a great way to protect your seed phrase. I love, love, love the reusability. And that to me is one of the things I like most about it. One of the things I did with the Coinkite one where I had to bang out the letters, I sometimes banged it out incorrectly. I made a mistake. I was like, oh shit, I hit the wrong thing. So instead I had to hit out 2 or 3 places to kind of like say, no, it's not the L, it's the M. And then I had to hit M 3 times and just instead of just hitting it once. Anyway, once you make a mistake with the banging mechanisms or like punching a punch card mechanism, you can't reverse it. This you can reverse and reuse. So I really like that about that. The price is reasonable. You're looking at a price of, if you get a link in the description below, you're going to get a good deal on it. It's only about a $20 difference. One is $49 and the other one is $69. So this is a $69 version. Should you spring for one? I think if you have a modest amount of cryptocurrency and you have, you're pretty good about your security, I think spending the $49 one is fine. But if you want to be extra protective and extra safe, then go for the $69 version. I think that's great. Find the link in the description. Full disclosure, I do get an affiliate link on it. It doesn't cost you any extra, but it gives me a little bit of commission. But I want to give you my honest opinion about this and see what you think. Put your comments down below if you've used it or you have any other concerns. I'll be happy to answer your questions. This is France Tapon, encouraging you to wander and learn and protect your seed phrase.